Well, hello there. Sion Batson here from Sion Batson Tutoring, and in this video, I will be teaching you how to solve two-step equations. So let's go. Now, this exercise is out of my 7th grade math workbook. You can master 7th grade math, next generation learning standards. Now, this book is an excellent resource for homeschooling, virtual learning, extra practice at home, homework help, and state test prep. It is filled with very simple and easy to follow notes and explanations, step-by-step examples, guided examples, and more than 1100 practice problems and answers. So if you have a 7th grader, I would highly recommend that you get them a copy. You can get your copy from Amazon or from my website, www.sbatsonacademy.com. Now, to our exercise. When solving a two-step equation, our ultimate goal will be to find the value of the variable we have to solve for. Yes? To find the value of the variable we have to solve for, we will have to isolate that variable. In other words, we will have to get the variable positive and all by itself on one side of the equation. Now, to isolate the variable, we are going to use a very simple process. Let's talk about the process. To isolate the variable, we will have to get rid of some unwanted terms. Now, very important, when we are getting rid of the unwanted terms, we will get rid of one unwanted term at a time. Also, here is a secret. We will get rid of the unwanted term that is adding to or subtracting from the variable we are solving for first. So far, so good. Now, to get rid of an unwanted term, we will use an inverse operation. Now, the inverse operation will be the opposite operation of whatever the unwanted term is doing to the variable we are solving for. For example, if the unwanted term is adding to the variable, we will have to subtract to get rid of the unwanted term, because the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. Get the idea? Now, very important again. Whatever the inverse operation is, we must perform that operation on both sides of the equation. Remember, we have to keep the equation balanced because both sides of the equation are equal to each other. So whatever we do to one side of the equation, we must do the same operation to the other side of the equation to keep things balanced. So far, so good. Now, I am going to teach you two very simple steps that will help you complete the process of isolating the variable to solve a two-step equation. Let's go. Step 1, we will use an inverse operation to get rid of the first unwanted term. Now, the first unwanted term will be the term that is either adding to or subtracting from the variable we are solving for. Yes? Then step 2, we will use an inverse operation to get rid of the second unwanted term. And the second unwanted term will be the term that is either multiplying or dividing the variable we are solving for. Two very simple steps. How are you feeling? Now, note that a two-step equation is called a two-step equation because it takes only 2 steps to isolate the variable. So far, so good? We're gonna have a good time. Let's get the party started. In our first equation here, we have 2x minus 9 is equal to 3. Yes? And we are asked to solve for x. So in this equation, our ultimate goal will be to find the value of x. To find the value of x, we will have to isolate the x. In other words, we have to get this x positive and all by itself on the left side of the equation. To isolate the x, we will have to get rid of some unwanted terms, yes? To isolate this x, we will have to get rid of this positive 2 and this negative 9. Look at that. If I get rid of the positive 2 and the negative 9, the x is positive and all by itself on the left side of the equation. The question now is, which of these unwanted terms do I get rid of first? Well, remember, the unwanted term that we get rid of first will be either adding to or subtracting from the variable. This 2 here is multiplying the variable, yes? Because remember, 2x is the same as 2 times x. And this 9 is subtracting from the variable. So since the 9 is subtracting from the variable, we will get rid of the 9 first, yes? Now, how are we going to get rid of this negative 9? Well, to get rid of an unwanted term, we will use the inverse operation. And the inverse operation of subtraction is addition. Therefore, we will add 9 on the left side to get rid of this negative 9. Remember though, if I add 9 on the left side, I must add 9 on the right side as well. So far, so good. Now, let's add 9 to both sides and see what happens. Negative 9 plus 9 is 0. So that negative 9 is gone. And that's the purpose of the inverse operation. The inverse operation eliminates or gets rid of the unwanted terms. So after adding 9 on the left side, we are left with just 2x. Yes? On the right side, let's add 9. 3 plus 9 will give us 12. Yes? So for step 1, let's put step 1. We added 9 to both sides to get rid of this negative 9. So far, so good. But we aren't finished though, because remember, our ultimate goal is to get this x positive and all by itself on the left side of the equation. So we have a second unwanted term to get rid of, which is the 2. If I get rid of that 2, the x will be positive and all by itself on the left side of the equation. How will I get rid of this 2 though? Well, remember, to get rid of an unwanted term, we will use the inverse operation. And since this 2 is multiplying the x, because remember, 2x is the same as 2 times x. So since this 2 is multiplying the x, we will have to divide by 2 to get rid of this 2. Why? The inverse operation of multiplication is division. Get the idea so far? So let's divide by 2 here on the left side. 2 divided by 2 will give me 1. So on the left side, we will have 1x or just x. Because remember, 1x and x, they are the same term. Yes? Don't forget that we aren't finished. If I divide by 2 on the left side, I must divide by 2 on the right side as well. And 12 divided by 2 will give me 6. Look at that. Our x is all alone by itself on the left side of the equation, and it is positive. Yes? X is equal to 6. So step 2, after dividing both sides by 2, we successfully isolated our variable. X is equal to 6. How was that? This is fun stuff. Now, before I go to the next example, I know some of you might be asking, well, Sion, why can't we just subtract on the left side, then continue solving? Well, my friends, the reason we are unable to subtract on the left side is because these two terms are not alike. This term has an x, this term does not. Yes? How are you guys feeling? We're gonna have a good time. This is fun stuff. This is exciting stuff. Oh, yes. Let's keep it rolling. Let's try negative 4y minus 7 is equal to 21. In this equation, we have to solve for y. Now, quickly, before we go to the next example, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and thank you for joining. Now, kindly click on the subscribe button and turn your notifications on so that you can be notified every time I post a fun, exciting, and easy to follow math tutorial. Yes, thank you. Now, let's keep our party going. Yes, my friends. So in our second equation here, we have negative 4y minus 7 is equal to 21. And we are asked to solve for y. So our ultimate goal in this equation will be to find the value of y. To find the value of y, we will have to isolate the y. In other words, we have to get this y positive and all by itself on the left side of the equation. Yes? Now, to get the y positive and all by itself, we will have to get rid of some unwanted terms. Yes? We will have to get rid of this negative 4 and this negative 7. If we get rid of the negative 4 and the negative 7, look at the y. It's positive and it's all by itself on the left side of the equation. The big question now is, which of the unwanted terms should we get rid of first? Well, remember our secret. We will always get rid of the unwanted term that is adding to or subtracting from the variable first. In this example, this negative 4 is multiplying the y. Yes? Because remember, negative 4 is the same as, negative 4y is the same as negative 4 times y. Yes? And our 7 here is just by itself subtracting from the y. So since the 7 is subtracting from the y, we will get rid of this negative 7 first. Yes? How are we going to get rid of the negative 7? Well, to get rid of the negative 7, we have to use the inverse operation. And since the 7 is subtracting from the y, we will have to add 7 because the inverse operation of subtraction is addition. So we will add 7 to the left side. If I add 7 to the left side, I must add 7 to the right side as well. Yes? So for step 1, we will add 7 to both sides of the equation. Yes? Let's add 7 and see what happens. Negative 7 plus 7 will give us 0. And again, that's the purpose of the inverse operation. It eliminates or gets rid of the unwanted term. Yes? So on the left side, if we subtract 7, we're going to have only the negative 4y left. Yes? On the right side, 21 plus 7 will give us 28. So we have successfully gotten rid of the first unwanted term, which is the negative 7. Yes? Now, we aren't finished though. Remember, the ultimate goal is to isolate the variable. The ultimate goal is to get the variable positive and all by itself on the left side of this equation. To get the variable all by itself and positive, we have one more unwanted term to get rid of. Yes? We have to get rid of this negative 4. If I get rid of that negative 4, look at the y. It's positive and all by itself on the left side. How will I get rid of this negative 4? Well, remember, this negative 4 is multiplying the y because negative 4y is the same as negative 4 times y. So since the negative 4 is multiplying the y, we will use the inverse operation of multiplication to get rid of the negative 4. Yes? And the inverse operation of multiplication is division. Yes? So we will divide by negative 4 to get rid of the negative 4. And negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. Positive 1. Yes? So after dividing by negative 4 on the left side, we're left with just 1y or y. Because remember, 1y and y are the same terms. Yes? But note, we aren't finished though, right? If I divide on the left side by -4, I must divide on the right side by -4 as well. 28 divided by -4 will give us -7, because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. If you need to review how to divide integers, or even add and subtract integers, I got you. I did a series of very detailed lessons that will help you master these skills. Go watch those videos, master the skills if you need to, then come back and join us. Yes? So for step 2, we divided both sides of the equation by -4, and we successfully isolated our y. The y is positive, and all by itself on the left side of the equation, y is equal to -7. How are you feeling? This is fun stuff. This is exciting stuff. I really hope you guys are mastering this skill, and I really hope that it's making you guys gain some confidence here. Yes? Now, guess what time it is? Yes, it is. It is your turn to shine. In this equation, we will solve for m. So this is what I want you guys to do for me now. I want you guys to pause the video, yes, and try this one on your own. Yes, pause the video, try it on your own, and then we will work this equation back together in part 2 of this series. Yes, I will do a second video, yes? So I want you guys to try this one on your own and then come back and join me in part 2 to see if you get the same answer, yes? I really hope you guys enjoyed this first video. I really hope it makes solving two-step equations helpful and easy, I should say, yes? Now, until next time, practice and enjoy your math homework. See you.